Greetings, brothers and sisters. It's Seven from London, and I'm coming back with another update. I hope everybody's well. Thank you so much for sharing my videos, for liking, subscribing, commenting. I just can't thank you enough. A massive shout out to Brother Lance for allowing me to share on his platform, and a shout out to everybody else that's on the platform. I want to just say much gratitude. I have so much gratitude because it's in these times that we have to rely upon each other to be able to really create safety for ourselves and protection mechanisms. Now, today I want to talk about something that I think is critical. I think it is one of the most critical things that is happening that we haven't had enough people talking about, and for that reason I need this to go to everybody all over the world. It doesn't matter where you are, everybody is affected by this one situation right here. Now, as everybody knows who's been listening to me, I've been sounding the alarm of what's going on in the entertainment industry. However, what is really happening is the weaponization of public services for safety. I'm going to repeat that. The weaponization of public services that are supposed to be for safety. All of these services have been infiltrated and are now being weaponized and are causing mass carnage and casualties all over the world. Right now, we are in a situation whereby all of the people out there, all of you good people who are paying taxes, you're paying taxes for your road services, for your energy services, you're paying for safety in terms of law enforcement. All of these services have been weaponized at this point. And that's why I think it's really important for us to pay attention to what's really going on. Now, maybe about 3 weeks ago, I actually made a post because as the truth of what is really happening starts coming to light, one of the things you start seeing is false flags. We see mass atrocities happening to create a smokescreen, a diversion around the truth that is being exposed. Now, as we know, the whole situation that took place over the last 2-3 years in regards to the jab situation, many people have perished after taking the poison injection, let's call it that, okay? There are doctors, scientists, lawyers, all kinds of people who have been sounding the alarm since the outset of this thing. I know that there have been a number of lawsuits that have exposed that this situation was a scam. Many of us sounded the alarm, myself included. As it began in about 2020, I founded a tribunal whereby myself and others were able to mobilize 32 judges and expert witnesses for this whole situation. However, that got infiltrated, and so I literally had to end up writing a judgment and investigating the situation first of all, because many of the judges, who are professional people, came forward to me and told me that there was attempts to block them producing the evidence of what was really happening. And so I ended up investigating what was really happening, because I founded the tribunal along with one other man whose name I'm not going to even mention here because it's not worth it. And it's not the point of this post. I'm just basically giving you a little bit of a backdrop. And that tribunal was infiltrated, and they basically went out of their way to try to remove me as the founder. After I investigated, I produced a judgment exposing everything that went down, and then I basically left them to their devices. Anyway, the point that I'm making right now is all of our places that we're supposed to be able to go for safety, for law enforcement, for justice, for truth, have been weaponized at this point. So much so that as the situation is unfolding in places like Turkey and Syria and all parts of the world, we know that nowhere is safe. So if you're thinking that the things that I'm sharing with you do not affect you, you're wrong. Because the whole thing about the theft and IP theft in particular, the stealing of intellectual property, this money is being used for organized crime. It's being put into human trafficking, electronic trafficking, targeting of people, targeting of nations, targeting of buildings, targeting of neighborhoods, targeting of everybody. This is a war whereby people who have been taken over by absolute wickedness and evil are enforcing that wickedness onto all the rest of us. Basically, everybody that represents truth, justice, love, peace, and the divine remnant. Those of us who believe in being fair, being concerned about your fellow brothers and sisters from around the world, all of us are being targeted, and you don't know when it's coming to you. You have no idea. As the people in Turkey are now realizing, and obviously places like Syria, these places have been at the receiving end of evil for decades. So this is a time whereby the truth is paramount. Getting the truth to people is paramount at this point. And this is why I need this information that I'm about to share with you to everybody. Everybody has to play a role. Everybody has to sound the alarm. This is how we stop it, because what you're dealing with is witchcraft. It's rituals. It's wickedness and it's demonic behavior. These people are demonically possessed. Absolutely so. And so what we're seeing is the weaponization of councils, the weaponization of all public institutions, whether it be the law enforcement, whether it be hospitals, whether it be schools, education, whether it be, it doesn't matter where it is right now. All the energy services, all the services to do with water, all the services to do with information, particularly the mainstream media and the entertainment industry. These places have been weaponized, and the end goal is mass killings. Sadly, but that's the truth. The end goal is mass casualties and mass carnage. And in order for us to bring this to an end, we need to understand, overstand, and understand exactly what is going on here. Now, as I've explained to you, for the last 20 years this year, I have been the target of a Virgin Media crime syndicate. It's not just Virgin Media. There are other people involved. There are lawyers involved, law enforcement involved, intelligence agencies involved, council workers involved, social housing groups involved. These people are literally everywhere. People within the courts, judges are involved. Literally every single public service has been taken over and weaponized. And it is this way that they are managing to commit most of these atrocities, if not all of them. The new face of terrorism is not a Muslim jihadist. The new face of terrorism that I have witnessed for the last 20 years is usually a white Caucasian young male in his 20s or his 30s, around that age, maybe slightly older, but generally those are the people that are carrying out these atrocities. Basically what's happening is, under the guise of public service, under the guise of public safety, they're pretending to carry out all kinds of services, from the road works, from waterworks, from saying they need to come into your property in order to rewire your house, all under the guise of trying to commit atrocities. This is what has been going on. I've witnessed it time and time and time again. And this is what took place in Grenfell Tower. Grenfell Tower, as many of you know, was a tower block in London, which was run by the council in the area of Kensington and Chelsea. It's also the Ladbroke Grove area, Latimer Road area. For people that are not in the UK, those areas will mean nothing to you, but that's where it's situated. It's basically a tower block which housed 600 people in the west area of London. Okay? Now, on the 14th of June 2017, that tower block went into an inferno within 15 minutes. Now, what's important about this situation is that this atrocity that killed what they say is 72 people, however, we know that 600 people were living in that building. And, excuse me, from the witness testimonies, people that live in the area who have lost family members and friends, they've said it's more like 400 people. Now, my aunt Marjorie and my cousin Ernie, Marjorie and Ernie Vital, they lived on the 16th floor of Grenfell Tower, and they, amongst all the other people, also perished in the most gruesome way imaginable. Now, I want you to think about this for a minute, because this atrocity was planned. It was planned, people. When we investigated the situation, myself and my cousin Ronnie Nicholas, who they've also murdered, and I'll talk a little bit about what happened to him. We investigated and we found out by witness testimonies a number of irregularities. These irregularities happened on purpose. They happened on purpose. The exits, the fire exits of the building were concealed. The water was turned off when the people started to realize that the building was in flames. They turned the water supply off. Fire engines didn't come for, I don't know what it was, something like 30 minutes. It took a long time for fire engines to get to the actual atrocity. 3 months before the actual event took place, there was, I can't remember the name of the original insurers of the building, but 3 months before, they changed the insurance company to include human casualties. That's 3 months before, people. Every part of what took place in Grenfell Tower, whereby people were killed in the most gruesome, horrific way imaginable, was planned. The evidence showed it was planned. And the only way that could have happened is by the weaponization of public safety and public services. In other words, there are people who are part of these satanic cults, and we know that this is a form of people being addicted, obsessed by committing evil and forcing that evil onto innocent people. Now, I know that there were a number of people in the building that were very, very suspicious because they put cladding onto the building. Now, this cladding had a lethal substance on it, which basically meant that it burned very, very quickly. These residents actually, I think it was years, or it was a considerable amount of time before the actual event took place, they protested outside the council's offices, and the response was they were threatened by lawyers. They were threatened by lawyers to keep their mouths shut. These people were amongst those who perished inside the building. I want you to think about that, because what is taking place on a scale that I don't know if it's ever been done in history before, but the level of evil is being perpetrated by people who have weaponized the services that are there to protect people. In other words, gas pipes, and this is one of the things they said about Grenfell Tower as well, was that gas pipes were run into the building 2 weeks beforehand. Now, in my own personal experience, I was living in a property that was owned by a housing association called Genesis Housing. Now, the Grenfell Tower building is based in an area called Kensington and Chelsea, which is in the Notting Hill area. The housing association that I was with, Genesis, actually merged with Notting Hill. So what we're seeing is an organization or two public authorities, public social housing authorities, I should say, people who are responsible for the housing of people, have merged. And these two companies, first of all, with Grenfell Tower, nobody's been arrested. Imagine 400 plus people, because it's not 72 people. That is part of the weaponization of mainstream media, because mainstream media no longer tells people the truth. That's not news. Everybody knows that mainstream media now is complicit in the atrocities and the genocide and crimes against humanity that is being perpetrated. I'm sure there are people within mainstream media that would like to tell people the truth. However, because of the weaponization of the media and the entertainment industry and all the public services, those people are gagged. And many of these people meet their demise as well. So You know, the climate is one that is very, very hostile. So it's very difficult for people that are working in there to get the truth to people. However, they're reporting lies. And if it is a situation where you know people's lives are at risk and the public everywhere relies upon you to tell the people what is happening and you refuse to report what is happening, you should walk out. If you cannot tell people the truth about what is happening when lives are at risk, when people are not safe, when there is the weaponization of public safety, you have a duty to walk out of that place. Now, I know in relation to the whole situation of what took place in the last 2 years and the amount of people who have perished because of taking one jab, another jab, another jab, another jab, a booster, and another booster on top of that booster. We know that many people have been injured and many people have perished. And their voices, the people who have injured, I mean, their voices are being silenced. They're being censored. Those of us who are trying to bring the truth out to people are being censored. I opened a Twitter page and a YouTube channel. I had another YouTube channel before. My previous YouTube channel, if anybody wants to check out that channel, it's still there. I just can't get in there at the moment. You can have a look at Solutionaries Media Network, which is also on YouTube. SOULUTIONARIES Media Network. Solutionaries, so like soul music. Solutionaries Media Network. That's my other channel, which I can no longer get access to. Last year, because of the danger that was being done to me, the dangerous circumstances that I was navigating on a daily, hourly basis with people trying to literally murder me, which has continued and is a harrowing tale in itself for anybody to have to be put through. And I'm just an ordinary person, just like the rest of you. You know, I don't subscribe to being an activist or any of these titles people get given. I'm just an ordinary person. I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother. Those are the only titles that I really subscribe to. And I'm a lover of the Most High. And so for me personally, to witness one family member to another family member, my mother, my father, my aunt Marjorie and my cousin Ernie be burnt alive in a tower, my cousin be poisoned, and I'll tell you a little bit about what happened there. For me to have to deal with such a situation as an ordinary person and deal with the trauma that comes with losing people that you love without any investigation, anybody basically accounting or even looking into what happened to these people, and have to deal every day with exploitation and the theft of my work, people taking ownership for my work, fake people like Gillian McKeith masquerading on YouTube on Twitter, pretending to be a humanitarian whilst she's living on the proceeds of crime, and my personal exploitation experience and situation. For me to have to live with that is unacceptable. It's unacceptable for anybody to have to go through what myself and my family members have gone through, and all the people who are suffering in the entertainment industry, and there are many of us. Because of the weaponization of the entertainment industry and news and the media, many stories never come to light. Many of the music albums that you listen to, many of the TV shows, the scripts, the inventions, sometimes you just never know who really produced those great works of art. You just don't know who did it, because right now we're dealing with vicious people who are, I mean, the level of evil, I was going to say evil, but it's even beyond evil. I mean, I never understood what evil really meant until coming across these particular people. And the fact that these people are able to still run businesses, these networks to still be churning out productions, these places still being open for business, knowing that they've killed, massacred multitudes of people beyond what we define as a serial killer. We're talking about mass killings of people, and still be able to go to work and nobody account. We're living in a situation that has to change. It has to change. 3 weeks ago, I made a video because as the truth comes out, and the truth is coming out thick and fast, everywhere you turn, people are talking about the entertainment industry. They're talking about the corruption in media. They're talking about the corruption in councils, in the public services. The head of the police, the current head of police, the Metropolitan Police in the UK, in November came out and said there are thousands of police officers in the Metropolitan Police that are actually criminals. There was no vetting. These people just were put into the police services and they are criminals. And it is these people that are carrying out the atrocities as far as targeting, domestic abuse. I mean, it is evil out of control. And those of us who are on the receiving end, there is nowhere to go but to form our own forms of protection for ourselves. And part of that protection is to bring the truth to the public. Because if the mainstream media or people working within the mainstream media were to bring this information to the spotlight, it would be over overnight. This madness that's going on would be over overnight. But unfortunately, there's a lot of fear. It's a very hostile environment for the people working in there. I know that the BBC have been flagged up as being a really gruesome place, because I know behind my famous shows, if you type in Strictly Come Dancing, the UK's version of Dancing with Stars, and you look at how many people have died in relation to my shows, behind the scenes, people who have perished, it is extraordinary. When you look at the data and you look at the evidence, you know something is wrong. Something is very wrong. And we know that absolute power corrupts absolutely. We have a situation where there is a criminal syndicate which is led by people like companies like Virgin Media who are behind it. Now, I flag up Virgin Media. They're not the only one, obviously, because I sued 10 corrupt corporations and won a massive lawsuit. And every single measure has been used to silence that truth. Every measure has been taken to ensure that I never get paid. Every measure has been taken to make sure that I never have any quality of life. I never have any peace. I never have any money. I never have any possessions. It's only by the grace of God and the love in my heart for people that my karma is good, and good people have come to my rescue and support. And this is how I happen to be where I am today and able to share with you people right now. because they've taken every measure to ensure that I am totally and thoroughly exploited for the rest of my life, if they had their way, and absolutely disposed of. Disposed of. That is the mechanism that these people are running by. That is the mandate that they run by. You exploit people to the absolute maximum and then dispose of them as brutally as possible. This is the mechanism that these people run by. It's only evil people that can think like that. It's only evil people who can engineer to do such wickedness to people. Now, it's interesting that right now, I heard recently, about a week ago, that there is an exhibition. I think it's called Execution. I saw it advertised. Look it up. But there's an exhibition which is basically showing the history of London and history of how they treat victims in the UK, in London. It was known, apparently, London was known as the most gruesome, most vicious, evil place in Europe. And, excuse me, based on my own personal experience, I can see why. Because these people have one face to the public, but they're absolutely wicked. They're monsters. And they're proud of it. This is the thing. However, that wickedness has karma attached to it. You cannot go through life terrorizing people and think that there's no consequence, there's no karma, there's no cause, there's no effect. They're wrong, people. Everybody that's listening to me right now, you know that this is wrong. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what took place in Turkey, because 3 weeks ago I made a video warning people on my own channel, which is on YouTube, called Urgent UK News Updates. I created that channel because not only is my own life in danger, I know that every single one of you's life's in danger if what is taking place is left to continue without intervention, without a public uproar, without people checking these people and saying, it's enough, it's enough. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen, but I know that the video has gone viral already. There is a senator, she's part of the I think it's Romanian political party. Her name is Diana Sosiaka, something like that. Diana Sosiaka. And basically, she did a 6-minute speech. I don't know if anybody has had an opportunity to listen to that. If there's a possibility of me putting that into the comment section or the description section, I'll see. It's a video from a platform. I don't know what the platform is. It may be a Romanian platform or a Turkish platform. I'm not entirely sure. So it's not like a straightforward YouTube video link. It's basically, it was a video on Twitter, but if there's a way for me to put the link there, I will. And I just want to talk a little bit about this woman, because she brought out some very, very important points in her 6-minute speech about what just took place in Turkey. Now, she's adamant that that was not an earthquake. And anybody who's awake and aware, who knows about HARP and all these weather technologies, you will understand and understand what this woman is saying. Now, one of the most important things that she brought to the table was to say that this is the time where people have to rise up together, and she's right. There is an evil taking place that seeks to claim lives on a mass scale. In fact, last night I saw that there was a post on MSM saying that an asteroid is about to hit France and the English Channel tonight. Okay? This is why I wanted to make this post tonight. It's so important, people, that you understand and understand and overstand what's going down. When you hear that they tell you there's an asteroid about to hit anywhere, you know, say they're looking to do mass killings. Okay? And the thing is, because of the weaponization of mainstream media news outlets, they are pushing for this carnage. This is why during the situation with the last 3 years, and I'm being careful about what I'm saying here because for obvious reasons, you know, I want this video to be able to stay up. Now, because of the information that was being pushed over the last few years, when you look and you see that people were being forced or coerced to take something which, number one, had not been tested. Or I should say even, actually, number one, there was no justification for. No justification for, when you understand, overstand how health works. And there are many things within nature to heal us, help us to build the immune system. There's many things. If you take care of your body, it will take care of you. There was no justification for anybody to have to take anything artificial in their bodies. Number two, whatever is in those vials, nobody could vouch for. I'm going to repeat that. There's nobody that could vouch that whatever was in those serums, those bottles, people cannot vouch for it being anything that will help anybody anywhere. There's nobody. Majority of the people that took this thing could not vouch for what they were taking. If you were to ask any of them, well, what exactly is it that you took? Nobody would be able to explain unless you're a scientist working in a lab and actually was part of the team that put these things together. Nobody can vouch for what was in those things. And I'm not berating anybody that did take it, because I understand the level of fear-mongering, the level of pushing and coercing and manipulation to make people take something that nature already has a cure for. I'm not berating anybody, because I have been out there advocating for people to recognize it was also weaponized to create division amongst us, to create division amongst people that took it and people that didn't want to take it. That whole situation destroyed families in itself. I know people who are not speaking to their children, children that's not speaking to their parents. I mean, brother to brother not speaking, cousins not speaking, family members not speaking, because of this whole scenario, which was part of the social engineering behind this whole situation. Weaponization of public safety, because this was pushed to be safe. It was pushed for our safety. However, little did people know it was part of the weaponization of public services and public safety. And this is an area that we need to highlight and put a spotlight on, because all of it comes under the weaponization of public safety and services. It's being sold for our safety. I'm telling you, over the last 20 years, I've seen People turn up and drill into gas pipes under the guise that they work for the council and public safety, and their intention was just as nefarious as what went down inside Grenfell Tower. I have seen and I've lived in buildings whereby, under the guise of public safety and public services, people have turned up and put scaffolding onto my building, which stayed there for 2 years on one occasion, almost 2 years. It wasn't completely 2 years, but it was almost 2 years, whereby we were completely encased in scaffolding and mesh. So there was a mesh around the scaffolding, and that scaffolding stayed there for literally nearly 2 years, whereby you cannot open your windows. In the summertime, criminals were coming and turning up, and actually these men were literally turning up and 2 o'clock in the morning and actually trying to access the buildings. This is called the weaponization of public safety. Under the guise, oh, we have to do works to the building, so we're going to put up scaffolding. They didn't even send a letter to tell us that they were going to put scaffolding on the building. They just literally turned up and put the scaffolding up. The weaponization of public services, pretending it to be safety. We're talking about people entering into water supply and turning off the water supply in areas. I've seen that happen multiple times. I've had my water supply tampered with. The weaponization of public services that are supposed to be for safety, but really they are there to absolutely kill people. That's what we're talking about. Now, this particular woman, who is called Diana Sosoaca, something her name is, Sosoaca, so Diana Sosoaca, and she is the Romanian senator for the Romanian political party. Now, she made some very interesting statements, to say the least. She said that they are now being able to call upon earthquakes on demand. Now, we saw what happened in Haiti, and we've seen what's happened in the Caribbean, and particularly in the island where my family reside. We've seen this happen. We've seen these on-demand earthquakes that they're even given female names to, or not just female names, because I know that they've had Hurricane David and all these different names over the decades. She said, I just wrote a few notes she said that they were looking into the gas line and the pipelines. She said 10 seconds before the pipelines were closed, 24 hours before, 10 countries withdrew their ambassadors from Turkey. Sorry, I just took down some notes from what she said. She said 5 days before the occurrence, the Romanian Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a travel warning for Romanians, although there was no danger. Other countries did the same, she said. And she said the Turkish secret services are investigating possible criminal intervention, and so they should. Because with every one of these atrocities, if you go back and you do your research, you'll start seeing the same patterns again and again and again. Now, when I saw that they're advertising there's an asteroid that's going to hit France and the English Isles or English Channel, that was a red flag. That was a major red flag. And I'm telling you this because you don't know where they're going to go next. You don't know where they're going to go next. And the thing is, we know who is doing it. We've seen it with 7/7 in London. Many people who have been investigating 9/11 over the years have flagged that one up. I've certainly seen it with Grenfell Tower. And we've seen it with all the different atrocities. There's a whole trail of irregularities which amount to the weaponization of public services that are supposed to be for safety. Now, when people are aware that this is happening, when people become aware that these are all by design, that these things are not just happening because of nature or some random event, when you recognize that it's by design and you start putting all of these events together and we start looking at the death toll, especially when we understand about Agenda 2130, which is the whole depopulation program, you'll start to understand why they want to have 15-minute cities. 15-minute cities. For those of you who are not aware of what is 15-minute cities, what's she talking about? Let me tell you what 15-minute cities are. In 2024, and this is not just in the UK, although they've actually put it into some parts of the UK, and I think the people are tearing it down from what I understand. 15-minute cities is their last bid attempt to get a checkmate and to get everybody trapped so that you will never be able to have freedom again. Nobody will ever be able to come after them again, and forever people will be under their rule. They will be the masters of you all. They will be in ultimate control. Who lives, who dies, who gets tortured, who gets targeted, whose money gets switched off. Because one of the things that is also in place in these 15-minute city nightmares, plantations, we need to call them. We need to start calling things by what it really is. Because part of this game is the illusion. And in order to stop the game and stop the Wizard of Oz is to start calling things by their actual names and to stop giving them the fancy names, like people call these people elite. Elite, how is that elite? How can somebody be elite? To me, when I hear the word elite, I think special. How can these people be special if they're going around with a low vibration? They're going around literally planning, plotting, scheming to kill masses of people in gruesome ways. How does that make people elite? Stop giving power to the wicked, people. I want to read out a scripture. It is Proverbs 29:2 in the King James Version. It says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked take rule, the people mourn." Just think about that for a minute. How many places in the world are people mourning at this moment in time? How many places in the world are people suffering in the world right now? Who is demonstrating? Who's out there demonstrating? Is it the mainstream media? Is it media executives? Is it council workers? You only have to look at the people who are demonstrating to know who the troublemakers are. You only have to put your mind on who isn't out there demonstrating. There's nobody, executives from the mainstream media, from any of these companies that are demonstrating anywhere. That tells you something that you need to consider behind who is doing what. We need to recognize, first of all, that we have all of our public services that have been weaponized. Once that sinks in and you recognize if the public services are weaponized, that means people are showing up at places that are supposedly to do something for the public safety and utilizing that, manipulating, using that script in order to carry out atrocities. Now, I want to tell you what happened to me at 2019. So, Grenfell Tower happened on the 14th of June 2017. By, I believe it was August, I took proceedings against Genesis Housing because they weaponized my building and they were basically giving access to criminals by putting scaffolding on the building, leaving it there under the guise that they're carrying out some work for public services. But in reality, nothing was further from the truth. They were seeking to cause misery, suffering. We weren't able to open our windows in the summertime. Basically, we had people working in Genesis Housing, one of the people being, his name was Miles Langan. There was another man, Mark Waddell. I believe these people, I don't even know if they're still working there, but these people were contributors to human suffering. There were two people that died in the buildings that were witnesses to my case, and they died inside that building, Margaret and Terry. I am very suspicious about what happened to those two people. And basically, access was being given to me by the people working within Genesis to carry out crimes. So to break into my property. At one point, they took out all the smoke alarms. That's another classic one that they do. Weaponization of public safety. So they'll come into your building and say, oh, we have to change all the smoke alarms. New regulations say we need new smoke alarms. Before you know it, they've put smoke alarms in your building that contain cameras. And they're watching you get up in the morning, go to bed. They're watching you in the bathroom. They're watching you wherever you are, whatever you're doing in your flat. They're watching you via the smoke alarms. The weaponization of public safety and services. This is a tactic that has become flagrant. Reason being is because most of you people are not aware. Oh, we have to carry out a gas check, safety check in your building. We need to come in and check and rewire all of your building. Red flag, red flag, red flag, people. If you're a targeted individual or targeted victim or a targeted building, because you have they are selecting people, God knows on what criteria. But they just choose whoever they want to target and they will do it, and you have nothing to do with it. You don't have to do or say anything wrong. There are people that are being targeted that are being experimented on. They have new weapons that they want to target. They want to test these weapons out. They just pick random people. There's a gang stalking manual, the training manual of how they are carrying out and teaching people, and everything that they are doing to innocent people is written in that manual. In fact, the Dr. Raini Kilder, who was from Finland, she exposed this and she's no longer with us. Dr. Raini Kilder, the gang stalking manual. I will put the link to that in the description of this video because you need to see it. Because a lot of people around you might be telling you that things are happening to them. And they might look like they're crazy because this whole targeting operation is designed to make people look like they've lost their mind so that they can section people under the Mental Health Act, the weaponization of public services and public safety. Once again, there's a movie actually that everybody needs to see. If you want to see how they are targeting people and the mechanism and the track and trace technology, you need to watch a movie which came out in 2020. It's called Super Intelligence. It's a comedy, but as we know, in Operation Mockingbird, which is a military program, under Operation Mockingbird, they actually can, but they show you basically what they're doing inside movies, cartoons, and you'll get more news in these comedies and cartoons like The Simpsons and Family Guy and all the rest of them than you do from mainstream media news. Mainstream media news is absolutely fake garbage. As I've said before, many of these channels, they make up the news to get ratings as well. So they commit a lot of these atrocities, especially if a channel is not getting the numbers like they used to get. And particularly now, because people are now recognizing that mainstream media news is not the truth. So their numbers are falling. So they'll do an atrocity just to get people watching them. This is what's happening. The weaponization of public services and public safety. And we know that the radio is a public service, BBC is supposed to be a public service. All of these networks are supposed to be there for the public's awareness. They're supposed to be informing people of what's happening. However, these networks have been weaponized, whereby they're staging atrocities themselves with green screens. If you're in the entertainment industry, you know how easy it is to create a news post. It's being weaponized. The weaponization of public services and public safety. This is what is happening. Now, on multiple occasions, I have seen the cutting of gas pipes, the drilling of gas pipes. So basically they turn up in an area and they'll start drilling. And anywhere I move to, I always scan the area. I always have a good record of what is going on, what it looks like. And I have a record for a while because I'll scan the area before I move there so I know what is there and what is not there. Within days, you'll see gas vans turn up. The other day, because where I am now, I've only just moved, as many of you have known, and I put it on Twitter. The very same Virgin Media was outside where I am. Next thing I know, there was a gas van. This is the weaponization of public safety and public services, and it's designed to make me traumatized. They deliberately go out of their way to terrorize and traumatize. Oh, we killed your family inside Grenfell Tower. Now we're going to do the same to you. That is the mindset. And these people are still running and opening for business. I'm asking you people, should Virgin Media be able to terrorize, exploit, run human trafficking, absolutely murder people's families, steal from people, kill people, take over the NHS? I haven't even mentioned that one. The same crime syndicate took over the NHS, the National Health Service in the UK. Years ago. Years ago. The weaponization of public safety and public services. Now, you just have a look at how many NHS staff are in the street protesting now. How many people are dying in the NHS. Have a look. Google it. Ask yourself how many people. Do the research. You'll see that there are people that are literally whistleblowers coming out left, right and centre of what is going on within the NHS service. Shall I tell you why? Because the weaponization of public services and public safety. Under the guise, we have to help you. Under the guise, it's for your safety. Under the guise, we have to carry out this check. Under the guise, you need to take this jab. Under the guise of a whole lot of hogwash, people. What is really happening is terrorism. Terrorism. But not terrorism how we've all been conditioned to perceive terrorism. Most people think a terrorist looks like a jihadist or somebody wearing an outfit and all of this stuff. No. The only terrorists I've seen have been white Caucasian males, and I love all people from all over the world. I don't really care what color you are, because I know that there's good and bad in every kind of people. I love my own people because of the suffering of my people. I love my people, don't get me wrong. But I will never condemn anybody on the basis of their skin, because there are people that look just like me that are just as wicked as the people doing this evil. You only have to look at Shanquilla Robinson's story. You know, I've had my own Shanquilla situation where they tried to kill me, and those were two former friends that are as dark as I am, including my ex-partner, because they wanted to get 30 dirty pieces of silver for themselves. So don't get it twisted. Evil comes in every shape, shade, and form. Right now, I'm interested in the quality of the human being on an inner level, rather than what people look like, because not all skin is kin and looks can be deceiving. It's who people really are, and those people who have humanity's interests at heart, those are the best people in this world. And most of the people who have humanity's interests at heart, they're the ones that are bearing the brunt for the Brutuses and the monsters and the horrible people, the wicked, evil people who are engineering to kill people day after day after day after day after day. Those who are bearing the brunt, and it shouldn't be that way. My objective is peace. My objective is to bring the truth so that we can get to peace. But we're not going to get to peace if you don't know what's going on. And what's going on is the weaponization of public services. Every single one of the services have been weaponized right now to endure, or let me put it this way, for innocent people to endure trauma, persecution, death, carnage, misery, suffering. There are people within these public services right now who put the order out. So they put the order out and they say, okay, whatever street it is, we're going to send out a whole crew of men and we're going to get them to do X, Y, Z to the street in order to carry out a atrocity. That's how they're doing it. This is happening all over the UK, and no doubt all over the world. If what the woman in Turkey, what's her name? Senator Diana, I can't even really pronounce her name. Sosoaka, something like that. Anyway, Sosoaca, Diana Sosoaca. And she's a powerful woman. This woman gave a powerful speech, 6-minute speech packed with power, and she and her people are not taking it anymore. And this is the point. We have to arrive at the point where we're fully aware of what's going on and we shut it down. We shut it down. Nobody should be able to use public services to create mass carnage of innocent people. Nobody should be able to get away with destroying countless people's lives and creating so much misery and suffering under the guise of public services. Nobody should be able to utilize a media, an information system that is supposed to enlighten us, inform us, and let us know what's going on in the world, and use it for lies and deceit. Nobody should be able to do that. And in order for us to change the way things is, we're going to have to start calling out some of these people. And this is why the crime syndicate that's involved in my case, I know for a fact that they're behind many atrocities. These are the top of the pyramid, and these people have been highlighted in the Farrell report. FARRELL report.net, the Farrell report. Use that report, people. Start pushing that report in people's faces. Now, what they're trying to do is make it look like when you type in the Farrell report and it's thefarrellreport.net, so www.thefarrellreport.net, by the great Tony Farrell. That man was so courageous. When I came to him with the facts, he listened. This man has 17 years experience as one of the UK's top criminal analysts in the UK. And he stuck his neck out for humanity. And when they were committing atrocities and they tried to make him lie, to make reports that says that there was Muslim terrorists, he refused to do it. There are many great men and women out there that are putting their lives on the line every day to bring you the truth, because the mainstream media has been weaponized. The entertainment industry has been weaponized. You only have to look at the Grammys to see it's been weaponized. Those people have been taken over. They've been taken over by a demonic force. So we need people to also to break these satanic strongholds. Satanic strongholds are everywhere right now. But the Most High people are also everywhere. In fact, I saw in the UK they're trying to change the way people say the Lord's Prayer, and to change the Bible so that basically I saw it, I think it was on Piers Morgan's show. Somebody sent me the link today to say that they're trying to change how people pray. What they got to do with people's prayers? Why they're interfering with people's prayers? Because they know people's prayers are powerful. They know the power of prayer. They know the power of the Most High people. This is why they're trying to kill people non-stop. And we have to shut it down, people. We have to flag up the people that are behind these things. The Christopher Gossage and Tony Englishes of this world from Russell's Media Law Firm. Their hands have blood, people. Charles Russell's law firm, his hands has blood. Jeffrey Bindman's of Bindman and Partner, Tamsin Allen, their hands have blood. Helen Alexander and James Manson from Scottish Media Groups or Scottish TV, which is affiliated to the ITV network, Grampian, Granada Television. Their hands have blood. We're talking about lawyers, people who are supposed to be protecting public safety. They've weaponized these lawyers firms, these law firms in the UK, and they all close ranks to protect each other, even though they know that they're doing wickedness. When it came to Grenfell Tower, we found links with the Bindman's situation, with my case, and the crime syndicate between my case, which is flagged up in Tony Farrell's report, and what took place in Grenfell Tower, right? And who was it that went to assist the families of Grenfell Tower? The same law firms. The same law firms. Bowman and Partners was the ones pushing for people to represent the family members. So we got the people who are orchestrating the atrocities actually going out there to provide law services to the people that have been killed. Think about that for a minute. My family in particular, when my two relatives, my aunt Marjorie Vital and Ernie Vital, my cousin, when they were burnt alive in the most horrific way, they were found hugging in the bath. Can you imagine? They burnt alive hugging. I mean, we're talking about gruesome stuff, people. There's not one of these people that are engineering these atrocities that would ever be able to face some of the crimes that they've done. These are hanging offences, people. None of the people that are perpetrating this wickedness would ever be able to take 1 second of the 20 years that they have subjected me to. They couldn't deal with it for 1 second. The Tams and Allens of this world. These are people that literally are still opening for business, and they're lording it around people when they know that they have been involved in the massacre of human beings and the exploitation and the cruelty. When my family members died, my two family members died, do you know what they did? The police went to my family members. I don't know if I said this, but they actually put a family tree together of all the family, and they told my family, stay away from me, because they knew that they were exploiting me and making money out of me and stealing from me and torturing me. They told all my family members to stay away from me, because the number one tool they use is isolation, to separate the person that they're abusing, so that basically there's no protection for us. It's part of the weaponization of public safety. In their mind, I'm to have no safety whatsoever. Even when I post things on Twitter from my page, and anybody can follow me on Twitter, UK Urgent. It's basically my Urgent UK Updates Twitter page. It's also YouTube, and I haven't really been active on Instagram, but I will be. I posted because I saw that there was a post about protecting black women, and so I posted this on Twitter, and they removed it. They removed it. They removed it because they need us to have no protection, no safety, and to be isolated and vulnerable. As I said, there is an exhibition, and that exhibition goes into the history of the UK and how they treat people in this place. I think it's indicative of the time that we're living in, that exhibition be known and flagged up for people to see how evil these people really are, and how badly we the people living in the UK are being treated. It's not just the people in the UK. Everywhere they go, they brutalize people. I don't think they know that they're sick. I think they're just so comfortable abusing people that they don't actually know that they're sick. And it's up to the world to show them that they're sick. It's up to the world to make them account, because they're not going to account themselves, because all the services of the UK, every single last one of them has been weaponized. Every single service that is there to protect people has been utilized now to ensure that people are killed without any accountability to them. It's the weaponization of public services that are supposed to be for safety. Just look at all the reports about the policing service right now in the UK. Type it in. Type in something like thousands of metropolitan police are being exposed as being criminals involved in all kinds of crimes, internally, externally. This is why when we go to the police to try to get help, nobody comes. Nobody comes. If you see any police doing anything, usually it's just a media circus. I'm not saying that there's not good police officers. I know that there are, because I've spoken to many who basically their hands were tied when they saw. I've seen police officers look at my situation and they cry, because even internally they can't do anything, particularly under the previous head of the police. You know, so we're talking about people who have been taken over, who are controlled by evil. You know, probably some of them out of fear. They don't know any way out of this. They only know to follow instructions of evil. And so it's going to take the public to ensure that these people are weeded out, because those of us who are at the receiving end of all our family members and our neighbors, and we're seeing people being massacred one after the other by this gruesome cult, those of us who've had to live with it have had enough. We've had enough. And I believe that's what the message was of Diana Sosoka, or I can't say her name, I'm sorry. No offense to anybody, but I just can't say her name. Sosoaca, Sosoaka, something like that. Sosoaka. Anyway, anybody who's seen her post, I know that it's had literally thousands upon thousands. It's gone viral. It went viral some time ago, and it's still doing the rounds, because people resonate. People resonate. Her message was, we've had enough. She made it clear that it was satanic that was happening. Had nothing to do with an earthquake. You know, weeks before it happened, because usually when they're going to carry out an atrocity, one of the signs they use is the scream. You know, it's like a movie called Scream, and they've got a contorted face in a black hood or whatever, and a white mask. Scream, you know those movies, right? Just before that happened, that was being publicized, and usually whenever they're going to carry out massive atrocities, they actually put that out, and I flagged it up. I will put the video where I flagged this up in the description area of this video, so that you can see for yourself. I sounded the alarm. I've sounded the alarm so many times, people. On so many occasions I've sounded the alarm to try to help people. And right now we have to take the power back, because the people that are in there are making people mourn. They're making people suffer. They're making people live an existence that nobody should have to live. Every force in the universe is against what is happening. If you understand astrology and you understand the planet configurations, and I will speak more about this on another occasion, but in 2019, Uranus sat above the constellation of Taurus, and it positioned itself for, I believe it's 7 years. It will complete its cycle in 7 years. And so we knew that those of us who understand astronomy and astrology, I'm not talking about the horoscopes, which is garbage and hocus pocus. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about when the Most High speaks, he speaks from the heavens, so that those of us who have an understanding of the heavens and the stars will be able to see the signs and the wonders. Signs and wonders are very real, people, and the Most High controls the heavens and all the planetary configurations. And if you understand the meaning of Uranus above the planet constellation of Taurus, you'll understand that Taurus is indicative of systems. It stands for structures, it stands for governments, it stands for financial institutions. Everything under the constellation of Taurus is to do with structure. And the planet Uranus positioned itself above Taurus. Now, the planet Uranus, as anybody who understands astrology and astronomy and the movements in the heavens and the stars and the constellations, they will understand that Uranus is the planet of revolution. It is the planet of the awakening. It is the planet of ascension. It is the planet of innovation, technological innovation, and basically change. And so if Uranus positions itself above anything, it's going to revolutionize whatever it sits above. And it's sitting above Taurus, which is the planet of the planet of systems, structures, governments, financial systems. So we knew, if you understand the heavens, we knew what's going on as far as astrology is concerned. We knew that change was afoot. And it's a 7-year cycle that began in 2019. And when it completes its 7 years, the world that we once knew will be no longer. So everything that we're seeing is the upheaval of old systems. That's why you will see an exhibition exposing the truth about the UK, that it has tortured and killed many innocent people, and the way that they treat victims. So anybody who they deem a victim, they will torture that person. They will torture. They've got a history of doing that to us. Right now, we have all the public services in the UK, and it's worldwide, people, because the UK have got its hand in all of it. And I really believe that once we start healing the UK and removing some of these people that have been involved in the exploitation and horrific torture and genocide of innocent people, we will see the beginning of world peace in the world. Once we start removing the people that I've named who are at the very, very top of the pyramid, they're all Bilderbergers and, shadow government people. This is why I haven't received any restraining orders. This is why when my cousin was murdered, he was poisoned. Till this day, that happened on the 14th of March, 2019. It was one of the most horrific days of my life, people. They poisoned him. When I found my cousin, he had white foam all over his mouth. He had vomit all over his clothes. And, basically, they blatantly poisoned him. And till this day, not one police officer has come to ask me about him. They burnt his body, and that was the end of that as far as they're concerned. And ever since, they have tried to murder me using the mechanism of the weaponization of public services, from cutting my gas pipe outside my house. When I go to move somewhere, I start seeing drilling outside into the gas pipes. And this is what's being done in the UK to myself as a victim. I've never hurt anybody. The only thing I've ever done is asked to be treated with respect and to be paid for my famous TV shows. Dancing with Stars, Strictly Come Dancing, You Are What You Eat, 10 years younger. I've asked to be paid. And these are the extreme levels that these people will go just not to pay somebody what is my rightful money from my own labor. When you have these kind of situations happening, people, we have come to a time where the universe, the Most High, will respond. Every force in the universe is against these people now. Every single force for peace is mobilizing itself now, because it's a situation that has gone too far. It's out of control. It's taking people out left, right and center, using the mechanism of the weaponization of public safety. And there are people working in positions of power that need to be removed. A lot of them need help. They need help. I think a lot of them know that they need help. These people need to be removed from being able to harm anybody else. The fastest way that we get that to happen is to expose the crime report that was done by Tony Farrell, to expose it everywhere, to take it to Turkish government, the Romanian government, bring it to all the governments in the world that know that something's not right and they want it to stop. Bring it to all the networks on the world. If you've got a platform, talk about the Farrell report and the people that are in there that have been flagged up as the criminal network. Talk about Virgin. Look into Virgin. The fact that they now control they took over the NHS, the National Health Service, years ago. They've run it into the ground. These types of networks should be shut down. They shouldn't be able to go around killing people in the way they're killing people. They shouldn't. We need to encourage the people within mainstream media, because every one of these services rely upon people. We rely upon people to do things, to write things, or not write things. So if they're not going to write the truth, we need you people who have platforms to write the truth. Because you don't know when it's going to be your country next. You don't know. They're telling us that there's going to be an asteroid. We don't know how many of those people are going to be taken out. In Turkey, they're saying it's 20,000 people. Children that have been displaced in Syria. Right now, the people in Syria are crying. They have no services, they have no food, there are children roaming around. How can this be the world that intelligent people create? How can 7 billion people allow a small group of people to do this? How can you all sit there and listen to this happening and nobody be going out and literally screaming from the rooftops to stop these people? I'm bringing you, I've done the work. I took 10 corporations to court and I won. I've done the hard work. You don't have to do that. These people will go to prison automatically. With publicity, they will go to prison automatically. Even if they don't go to prison, they will be stopped. They will be at least stopped from the weaponization of public services, the councils, the housing associations. Do you know how many housing associations right now are involved in stalking programs? Stalking sisters like London and Quadrant. That's another housing association that's been stalking my sister Cheryl. Shout out to Sister Cheryl. She's being stalked in her building, literally like a cloud above her head. Everywhere she walks inside her flat, somebody above her is walking. So when she walks into the bathroom, they walk into the bathroom. When she walks into the kitchen, they walk above her to the kitchen. When she walks into the living room, they walk into the living room. She tried dragging her bed. She could hear them dragging their bed. They're looking at her through thermal technology, definitely using some form of thermal cameras. And they're literally shadowing her wherever she goes, inside her flat, outside. And they not only just follow her, they bang things so that she knows that they're always above her. This is a program, this is a torture program that is happening to many, many, many people around the world. Many, many sisters around in the UK are coming forward to say that this is being done to them. They have different forms of targeting depending on what kind of experimental torture they want to do to people. It's all in the gang stalking manual. The only thing that needs to happen for this to stop is to expose the Farrell report. It's the biggest report of its kind. It's showing the top people that are behind the scenes. This is why I have not received any form of restraining order, because these people are being protected, because they're involved in racketeering and organized crime and domestic terror. They're involved in all of it, and they're making a lot of money doing this to people. And so people are getting paid to keep quiet. But at what point do we recognize that money, the value of people and the value of money is not comparison? There's no comparison to that. How can you compare a human life to any amount of money which you can buy anything with? You know, some car or whatever. How can you compare that to a human life? It is human beings that are running these systems. It is in human beings that are inside these intelligence agencies. It's human beings that is inside these councils. It's human beings that is inside the law enforcement. It's human beings. It's people inside there. I'm not even going to get into the reptilian thing because I know all about that, but I'm just keeping it on face value. It's human beings, and human beings can be replaced. These people can be replaced from those jobs. These people need to be removed from them. There are people inside the courts. that are actually taking bribes from these criminals to ensure that the evidence doesn't get in there. We also need to change these court systems because not everybody's being represented. We have majority of the people in there do not represent people from my ethnicity, and as far as law is concerned, law says that you have to be your case should be heard by a jury of your peers. We need grand juries of our own, of the real people inside these courts, not Freemasons and people that are part of these people's networks who are allowing this wickedness to continue. Every single public service has been weaponized. The courts have been weaponized because they have their own people protecting them, stopping people from being able to get justice, stopping the evidence from being seen, allowing these criminal situations to continue, like the jab scenario, where God knows how many people are now dead. We need to stop this right here, and the way we stop it, get this information to the public platforms, the large platforms. The large platforms, the platforms that are not prejudiced, that are not racist. Because a lot of people do not like the truth coming from people that look like me. They're gender phobic and they're racist. So when the truth comes from somebody like that looks like me, they don't want it. This is why most of my work has been, they've colorized it. All of the people that are representing my work are all European faces. That's not by accident. It's because majority of these people running these crime syndicates, they're racist. I'm not saying that there is not black people involved in these crime syndicates. Richard Hanna is as black as they come. But he evidently has a issue with his own people. With me, I've never done anything to this man. I don't know what his life was. I don't know if he's born in a war-torn country. It's got nothing to do with me. He could tell you that himself. I've never done anything to this man. I don't know if he was being tortured as a child. I don't know what has happened to that man. All I can say to people is pray for that man's soul. Pray for his soul so that he wakes up and recognizes what he's doing to his own people and to himself. He is literally lost it. All of these people, they need people to pray on them. Prayer on them, because it's a satanic stronghold that has got these people mentally gripped. They believe that they have to perpetually do evil to another set of people and another set of people. Before you know it, they've got more carnage in the works. These criminals are inside the BBC. You think it was just Jimmy Savile? People talk about Jimmy Savile. What about the rest of them? Jimmy Savile was part of a satanic cult. What about the rest of them? Every so often they arrest one police officer. They arrested one recently saying that this man was a monster. He had 800 and something victims. What about the rest of them? They're telling us it's thousands of police officers, but what about the rest of them? What about changing these people, making them recognize you cannot hurt people in this way anymore? You cannot go around your life torturing us, abusing people, using people. If you don't want it to be seen in Front Street what you have done to people, you know you shouldn't have done it. If you're concealing criminality and crimes against innocent people, you shouldn't be doing it. It's not healthy for your soul, what you're doing. I won't stand there and let you kill my family members and kill me and say nothing. I can't. I'm sorry. I will notify every single resident wherever I go what is happening in the UK, so that people are aware of your crimes. People are aware that you've taken over public services. People are aware. People need to go and look at who is in the councils. If there are literally thousands of people being targeted, that means that there are thousands of people in these councils that have taken over who are blocking people from being able to get the protection that we need, the restraining orders that we need. We need to change. We need all of these organizations, Amnesty International, Liberty, and all of these different organizations. We need them to start doing the work that they're supposed to be doing. They were formed to protect people. Refuge, that's another one. All of these organizations, we need these organizations that have been weaponized. All of the organizations, I'm talking about Refuge, stalking, all of these organizations, they're not helping people. People are coming to me. People are contacting me, and I'm a victim for help. Women are contacting me, and men are contacting me for help, and I am a victim. That's how bad it is in the UK. All of these organizations, they need to have training of their staff members. Check what happened to me while I was in the Black Women's Project. So they cut my gas pipe, they sent hitmen after me, and I had to basically flee from my home. Shout out to one brother who took me in. Eventually they followed me to where I moved to, and I let him know they're following me here. The hitman even tried to follow me into the lifts. So I went and I notified people that I trusted, and they got me into a refuge for women, specifically for black women. Now, within no time at all, men turned up saying that they're working for the council. This is classic, the weaponization of public services that are supposed to be providing safety. This is classic. So, I'm in a safe house that is, we're not allowed to give anybody the address, not family members or nobodies are not allowed to know where we are. This guy rings on the bell and says he works for the council. They've got a young girl working as the key worker, manning the building. She's in her early 20s. She lets him in. I'm looking at her like, what the hell are you doing? How can you let this guy in? There's women here that are being shielded from domestic violence. Some dude turns up at the door and you're opening the door to this dude. What are you doing? So anyway, she basically lets the guy in. He says, I work for the council. I've got to change the electrics. Ding, 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 ding. Bear in mind, I've had my gas pipes cut. Whilst I've had my gas pipes cut, I've had various attempts to come and rewire the flat that I was living in. I've had my family burnt alive along with 600 or at least 400 other people inside Grenfell Tower. I've seen God knows how many attempts to rewire buildings and burn them down. So I'm something of a veteran in this scenario, and it's something that I can write a thesis. I've written about it many, many times. So I'm trying to educate this woman who has been given the job to man the building. I said, this guy's turned up, rang the bell, and you've given him access when there's women here supposed to be protected from domestic violence. She's like, oh, he said he works for the council, he's got a badge. I said, I'm a graphic designer. Do you know how quickly I can make a badge like that? She says, oh, but if the council says we have to let them in, we have to let them in. I'm like, okay, this woman is dangerous. She's dangerous. She's a lovely sweetheart, but she's dangerous because she's ignorant. And if you're ignorant, you're dangerous right about now because you're putting people in jeopardy. I said, you're putting people in jeopardy. Oh, I have to let them in, blah, blah, blah. Before I know it, these people rewire this whole bloody building over a period of, I don't know how many days or weeks. This is during COVID, right? They rewire this building. Before we knew it, we could smell the burning. We could smell the burning. They even put an ambulance outside because they knew that they were about to burn the whole place down. I've seen it. That is what you call the weaponization of public safety, and that is the real face of terrorism. There's no Muslims going round with, jihadist outfits. That's a load of garbage. The real terrorists are working in the councils. Or if they're not working in the councils, they're rogue people that have taken over council badges, police badges, all these different public services badges, and they're carrying out this as a syndicate. And I've seen it happening. I've seen other sisters that are targeted. They keep ringing up. One sister, a friend of mine, they keep ringing her up, but we need to come in and rewire your electrics. I said, do not let them in. If you let those people in, make sure you've got video cameras and you've got reporters so that if anything goes down, you know exactly who's responsible. You take their names, you find out exactly who they are, where they even live, if you have to. Because these are the new face of domestic terrorism. It is not Muslims going round, it is people that are being employed to carry out roadworks, to carry out gas safety checks. We've got people that are literally abusing positions of power in ways that is unbelievable right now, people. That's why this post right here, you need to make sure everybody hears it. This needs to be heard all over the world because this is the new face of domestic terrorism, and it is the face of spiritual warfare. Because if you think that the Satanists looks like with horns on their head, no, they don't. No, they don't. They wear Gucci, Prada, and or was it Balenciaga, and all of these different brands. That who is behind domestic terrorism. Majority that I've seen are white Caucasian males. I'm just being real with you. Usually British. And I don't know if all of them know what they're participating in, because I've seen them come in to buildings and they'll go into the electrical cupboards and they'll rewire it all the way. They'll rewire it to burn the place down with the people in it. I've seen this happening. And then when you call in the police, rogue police who know what's going on will okay it. And basically, if you're stupid enough to stay in there, you'll go up with it. That is the weaponization of public safety and public services, using public services. This is how they're carrying out the terrorism now, people. You need to be on your A game. You need to be aware, especially if you're targeted, and even if you're not targeted, because right now everybody's targeted. You think all of those people that died in Turkey and Syria right now were not targeted? Of course they were. You don't know when it's going to switch upon you. And it's for us to rise up now. We have to rise up and shut this evil down. If you want to know who's behind the head of it, you go into the Pharaoh report. It's not just them. It's not just the ones that are in my case, but these ones are the ones that are on the highest levels of this wickedness. They have tortured my family. They've killed innocent people just so that they can go around lording money over people, just so that they can wear Prada and Gucci and be driven around in a Bentley or a Rolls Royce. They've taken over all of these companies. They've taken over BlackRock. These are the people behind BlackRock. These are the people behind NHS. I could go on and on and on and on and on. But this is the moment in history that we shut it down. We say no more. We say hashtag back off. We say no more, and we call these people out by their names. Christopher Gossage of Russell's. Tony English. David English of Russell's Media Law Firm, which is in London. Beinman and Partners, Jeffrey Beinman. Tamsin Allen. She was involved in the Leveson inquiry. She's involved in phone hacking, stealing intellectual property by phone hacking, and she's the one that was called as the super lawyer for people that have been hacked. The same drill over and over and over again. And what they do is they give these people knighthoods. The more wicked you are to innocent people, those are the ones doing knighthoods. And these are the people behind giving you 15-minute plantation cities. 15-minute plantation city is about to get to you if you don't shut these people down. If you don't shut this down and expose it for the evil that it is, people. Because we are one dot away from Nazi Germany. One dot away from the transatlantic slave trade revisited. We are one dot. This is what they're fixing to do. In March of this year, they're going to bring in the digital ID. If everybody doesn't remove these people. If you don't start sounding the alarm and start flagging up that they're killing people, they're murdering people, and that the people that are in positions of power are people that are literally running terrorism on innocent people, you have to flag it up. You have to flag it up. You have to flag up the Farrell report, because that is your ace card. That's an ace card. Once you put that out there, this all finished, people. That will unravel the whole lot of it. That will unravel. This is why my videos, if you go on Brother Lance's channel and you type in creator of Dancing with Stars terrorized and stalked, look for the video on the list and see if you see it. If you just go into Brother Lance's channel and you look at all the videos that he's published in the last month or whatever since I've been on his channel, look for any of the videos that I've done and see if they're there. You have to physically type into YouTube creator of Dancing with Stars targeted, stalked and terrorized in order to see the videos that I've done. There's a reason for that. There's a reason they don't want you to see those videos. There's a reason they don't want them going viral. Because once they do, it's over. The whole thing is finished. This is why they've been trying to kill me. This is why they've been stalking me and terrorizing me and trying to send hitmen after me or sending hitmen after me and following and all the rest of it. It is because it's over. Once they see whether I am here or not here is immaterial. You need to make sure these people are stopped. Because there are people in this world that's lives are in danger, including your own, because you don't know when these people are going to strike again. They don't know stop. They don't understand leave me alone. I've been throughout the whole judiciary. You will see it from the Farrell report. You go into the links at the side, you go onto the website, the Farrell report, and then you look at the public statement that's written by Tony Farrell. There's a video of Tony Farrell on there. There was a video of me. They've removed it. Why do you think they removed it, people? Because the video has the power to stop them. The truth has the power to stop them. This is the reason they don't want anybody seeing the truth. So you go onto the left-hand side of the Farrell Report website. Now, when you type in the Farrell Report, you might get a message. You enter this website at risk. They're putting that message now because they know that people are starting to see the truth. Because obviously, if they've taken over the NHS, they are also linked to all the stuff that went on over the last 3 years within the NHS, isn't it? They control the media. So they control the news stories, the deceitful news stories that were being published to people, isn't it? When you start connecting the dots, you'll think, holy moly, these people are the pinnacle, that once you flag these people up, Christopher Gossage, Tony English of Russell's Media Law Firm, Charles Russell, the Russells Group, it's a mafia cartel. It's an organized crime cartel that they're running. And they're doing evil and evil and evil so that people be scared of them. But don't you have no fear for these people? Don't you have no fear for these people, because what they're doing is wrong and they know what they're doing is wrong. We have to move in love and we have to move in peace. Every single planet in this universe is against these people right now. And they know it. And they've been stalling by doing all these killings so that you pay your attention to all these people, so that they lower the consciousness and they lower the vibration and they make it be a planet of fear. But no, we are people of love. We are people of truth. We are people of divinity. We are people of the Most High. We don't fear these demonically possessed people. Because really and truly, you bringing these people to the surface is for their betterment as well. Because obviously these people are living in hell state. You got to be in hell state to do the things that these people are engineering to do, to kill all innocent people. Imagine my mother's body was stolen from a mortuary. Who does that? Why would you do a thing like that? To somebody that's made you wealthy, why would you do a thing like that? In their mind, they've justified it. In their mind, they justified killing all those people in Grenfell Tower. They're justifying what they're doing. There's no justification for any of it, people. There's no justification to make people suffer. You notice the news is always preoccupied by evil. They never have good stories of what's happening to people. It's always to lower the vibration. It's always hell and destruction. This is what they're about. You only have to watch the Grammys to look at what they're about. It's completely satanic from start to finish. These people have been taken over. They don't even know they've been taken over. Most of them are gone. They're gone. But we're not gone. We can see, we know what is the right and what is wrong. You think they don't know what's right from wrong? What you do in the dark, it has to come out in the light. In order for us to heal it, people, and stop it and shut it down, we have to put it out there. It's got to be so big that they can't ignore it anymore. These people's names have to be so big. The Virgin Media crimes, they are the worst criminal network going in existence. People talk about Fauci, they talk about Bill Gates. They're nothing compared to the Virgin Media people. And they were like that before I came along. They were being reported for literally years before I came along. It's only when I went to court and I started doing my digging into this NTL, because Virgin Media used to be NTL. They had a long track record. You people need to go to Trading Standards and tell them about what Virgin Media are doing. Take the Farrell report to Trading Standard. Take the Farrell report to all of these organizations that have had enough of this, people. Because every single day there's another atrocity and another atrocity. You don't know when it's coming to you. And we have to stop it now. We have to show these people that what they're doing is wrong. Not out of even retaliation, but out of truth and love of humanity and love for the Most High. Because this is wickedness that is beyond anything that we can call evil. These people are beyond evil. And it's only by you people shutting it down that you will shut it down. So I'm going to give you the names again. I'm going to give you the names and the companies that are involved, the individuals and the companies again, so that you know who is behind it. You know who is behind it. So you know exactly which companies are involved. They control BBC. They control ITV. The bosses of BBC need to be pulled up. This is why nobody is being reported. All these people that are dying of the jab. They had people about a week or 2 weeks ago outside the BBC studios posting the pictures of all the people who have passed away. All the people who have perished after taking that lethal injection. Why is it not on the news? Why is it not on the news? Ask yourself why it's not on the news, because they're complicit. Because they know if they report it, it's going to lead back to themselves. Why are they going to report something that's going to lead back to themselves? But you got to make it impossible for them to get away from this. That's the only way we're going to shut this down. You got to make it impossible. It's got to be so big on social media, with everybody using the back off campaign hashtag, or enough, whatever hashtag. Back off is one. But it's got to be so big that they know there's no more crimes that they can commit that is going to be able to protect them. Because they're killing the people as a mechanism of protecting themselves. Because when they kill all the people, it means that people are frightened. Oh, we can't speak the truth. Oh, everybody's attention, the consciousness is lowered, the vibration is lowered. This is the tool that they've been using, and I guarantee you it's being carried out through the weaponization of public services. Every single public service in the UK needs to be cleaned out. I think it was very courageous of the head of police in the UK to come forward and say that it's thousands of police officers that are in there that have been taken over. That was courageous, because at least the people now know, because people have been reporting crimes in the UK for decades and nobody gets arrested. Nobody. Is because it's been taken over. So the same is with the council, the same within the NHS. It's the same within the education. It's with the same with the energy companies like Candent, and different energy companies, Thames Gas. All of these companies have been taken over by this crime syndicate. Let me give you their names again. Helen Alexander from STV, Scottish TV. She's affiliated to ITV networks. She was involved in the BBC. She used to work in the BBC. A man called James Manson. All right. He worked with Helen Alexander. There's another woman called Elizabeth Partiker. She is from the Scottish TV, connected to ITV network. This is why when a lot of these atrocities, look at the camera angles. Look at the camera angles when they film these atrocities. These things were staged in the same way they put action movies together. You've got to understand. They have licenses to have explosives. They have licenses to carry out crimes for movies. When they make these action movies, they use explosives. They use all kinds of arsenal of weapons. They have a license to be able to do it. And that's why they're connected to the intelligence agencies and the police and all these different people. If you see an action movie, you'll see all kinds of people on that set because they use weapons to blow things up. But the problem is now, because the morality is gone, they're using it to carry out crimes within the public services. That's why there's a direct link between what is happening in the entertainment industry and what is being done to the public. It's all been merged into one big mega beast now, where they've got the housing networks are involved. So people who are whistleblowers, where they live, they come after these people. They pretend, oh, we have to do a gas safety check. You have to let us in. If we don't let us in, we'll get a court order to let us in. So basically they force people to let them come in. And believe me, they wire people's places up to take them out. Especially if you've got a black organization and they want to shut that organization, this is how they're taking people's buildings out. It's the weaponization of public safety and public services. It's got to stop, family. Nobody's safe. If you think you're safe, you're not safe. The way we're safe is by the truth. You knowing the truth. You knowing, I'm not letting your ass in my house. You can have a badge with the council. If you've got a badge with the council, I need to be wary of you even more. I need to be wary of who you are. Any form of public service, if they come and say we need to do this, you need to, unless you call them and you know these people 100% and you've got cameras rolling when they come and do any form of work in your building, you need to make sure you don't let them in, and certainly don't let them in if you're in there on your own. And obviously they do it in the roads. They go outside in the road. Before you know it, they start digging in the roads, in the streets, and they're puncturing the gas. I just had an experience where I was before I am where I am now, in the neighborhood. Basically, we smelt gas. We smelt the gas. This is on the 1st of November. But smelt the gas. So I called up the actual gas company and Candent. Now, bear in mind, it's the same company that was involved in the cutting of my gas pipe, in a completely different area where I had fled from, literally years before. So, on the 1st of November 2022, I'm smelling this gas. I'm like, my God, what's going on here? So I call up the gas emergency company, Candent, and I said, I've smelt a gas leak, and you need to get somebody to come out. They said, okay, love, thanks for reporting it. I thought, cool. So anyway, the following day, on the 2nd of November, I called them up again. Did anybody come? And we went down. I got people to go down to the area. Lo and behold, the gas was still smelling. Nobody came. So I called them again. I said, it's still smelling. Nobody's come. Nobody's done anything. Now, this was the 2nd of November. Now, as we know, 5th of November is Guy Fawkes night, and there was a big event taking place for the black community in that same area. So then I start putting two pieces together, connecting the dots, and I thought, no, they wouldn't do that. I thought, no. So anyway, I called them again on the 3rd of November, and I said to them, it's still smelling of gas. So she said, oh, let me check. Do you know, this had been reported, I discovered, since the 24th of October. So the month before, 20 days before, because obviously by that time, or let's say 19 days before, because it was the 3rd of November, people had actually been reporting this gas leak and they left it. So I called up the managers. I said, there's a gas leak. What's going on? We got other things to do, love. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll try and get to it next week, in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be quite busy, so we can't really do anything about it. I said, pardon me? I said, it's a gas leak. What are you talking about? I said, people's lives are in danger. What are you talking about? Sorry, love. Yeah, we can't really do anything. I said, listen, there is people's safety. There's a gas. I'm like flabbergasted at this point. So anyway, I write to the people in the company via Twitter. I write to the head officers, and I tell them, you have had a gas leak since the 24th of October in a neighborhood. It's now the 4th of November, day before Guy Fawkes night. Ding, ding, ding. And you've left it. This was deliberate, people. It was deliberate. And this is what they're doing. I was told by somebody who is also a targeted individual that he said whole streets are being taken out. Apparently in Kent, somewhere in Kent in London, a whole street was taken out. And somebody told me in America a whole town was taken out. This is what's happening. It's the weaponization of public services. It's not a joke, people. This is a really, 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 really serious post I'm making today. And all I can do is do my part. Now it's up to you to make sure that this information is known everywhere. Because they cannot do it when people know what they're doing. They cannot do it. They cannot bold-faced just kill people like that. They need to be exposed of what they're doing. They need to be exposed. These are people, they're sacrificing people. These people are satanic. They're demon-possessed and they're taken over. I don't even think that they know that they've been taken over at this point. I think that it's become a lifestyle. It's a way of life. They wake up every morning, it appears, and they just plan how they're going to kill people and make it look like it was either an accident or a natural disaster or some minor thing, but it's being staged. Things like this don't happen naturally. They don't. They have all kinds of weaponry, and one of them biggest arsenals is the public services. And that's why this post is so paramount, that you get this information to everybody, everywhere you know. Let them know about the Foul Report. Blog about the Foul Report. If any of you are bloggers, if you're not a blogger, send it to a blogger. Send it to a news station. Speak to a news station. Speak to somebody. Send it to people everywhere. Obviously, a lot of the news networks, majority of the mainstream media networks, if not all of them, have been taken over. And so this network are controlling the news. And this is why part of the weaponization of public services is the media itself and the entertainment industry, the music industry, because they're there to pacify you. They're there to sway you, to make you go against having morals, caring about anybody, to facilitate the mindset that sympathizes with that kind of behavior. You know, that turns you into somebody that is narcissistic, that empathizes with narcissism, thinks about stealing, robbing, killing, torturing people as the norm, killing people as the norm. This is what is being promoted. This is why the friends of Shanquilla Robinson couldn't give a damn when after they killed her. This is the culture that they're creating, and the only way we change it is by flagging the people up and the companies that are behind this kind of abuse, and so that these companies are shut down. There's none of these companies. Virgin Media needs to be shut down. Bindman and Partners needs to be shut down. Russell's media law firm needs to be shut down. The criminals that are in the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, ABC, CNN, wherever they are, they need to be shut down. The people within this crime syndicate needs to be shut down. They've done crime upon crime upon crime upon crime. You don't need any more crimes upon crimes. You don't. We just need to stop these people. Sorry if I'm not making sense anymore, people, but I'm just like, I've had enough. I really have. I want them to leave me alone, leave us alone, let people live in peace. I don't want them following me by helicopter, because that's another thing that they're doing. They're following victims by helicopter. They're following people. They're literally terrorizing people behind the shadows, targeting people behind the shadows, and we need to shut it down. We need to shut it down, family. So I'm going to leave this post here. It's a long one, but it's a necessary one. I'm sending out peace, love, and divinity to everybody. I want to say thank you for all of you who are making this change possible, that is doing your bit. You know, we will shut this down. You know, the objective is peace. The objective is peace, truth, and for this, literally this nightmare to end, for it to be stopped. Period. Go to every single organization, platform on social media to bring this information out. Because if you allow them to do these 15-minute cities, that's game over. That's the end plan, so that you will never be able to do anything. You'll be trapped in a 15-minute city. This is the end game. Everybody be trapped in a 15-minute city, either be murdered, and this is globally. They're not just like COVID. It's going to be the same sort of thing. 15-minute city, which is the climate lockdown, is permanent. All the cities will be gated. You will not be able to purchase food. You will not be able to have a car, because they're saying it's based on carbon emissions and, climate change. It's garbage, people. They're telling people who have got no car that they're making a problem with the environment, when these people have 5 cars and are flying helicopters all over the place. It's a lie, people. It's designed to trap you in slavery forever. Because once they trap you in a 15-minute plantation digital grid, you're finished. You need to watch the movie. I said it's super intelligent, and you will see how they're running this thing. It's being run from intelligence agencies, and that movie shows you how they're doing it. You need to watch that. Make sure everybody gets that movie out and watch it, and shut this down. Shut it down. Let them know that you know exactly what's going on and you've had enough. Peace out, family, until the next video. I'm going to make a video about the damage of the order followers. That's my next video, so look out for that one, and I'll be giving you one of my emergency updates so that you can know what's happening to me personally. But look out for my next video, which is the damage of the order followers, because they're the people who are following these orders that are making this evil happen. So peace out, everyone.